one of the things that I was wondering about, because I've read a lot of interviews of, especially for women, and also, as you say, you were underrepresented at that time. Like, you're a woman of color, you have this big success, and you're a woman in the music industry 20 years ago. And I thought, God, what was that like for her? The impact of going out quickly and going out fast. And in your early 20s, which is when most of us still are trying to figure out who the hell we are, you're suddenly doing it under the glare and the spotlight and the appreciation, but also the shadow side that can come with that. What was that like as a rite of passage?
I thought that the hard part was making the album, which took me 2 years to do. And back then it felt like forever because I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. So 2 years is a long time when you don't know if you're going to succeed at all. And then I was 22, 23 making the album. And then it came out, and that's when everything really got hard because the amount of movement and travel and the amount of energy and people that are around, and then you literally are supposed to not have a hair out of place or to pronounce a word wrong, or it was so much. And I remember being on an airplane and writing in my journal that I didn't like it. I was like, I don't like this, all this moving and flying. And it wasn't that I didn't like it mentally. It was like my body didn't like it. And I didn't know. It took me many years to even hear anyone talk about what it meant to be a sensitive person or to be an empath. I used to just be like, I would ask people, how does everybody else do concerts and they get up and go to breakfast in the morning and I have to lay down till Tuesday? What is this? I would be asking people whenever I would meet people I thought were wise or people who did spiritual work. And I would just be asking all the time, like, what is this? Why are they like that? And I'm like this? Because I just didn't respond well to all the movement and the talking. Like, because, people want to talk to you and they sometimes run up behind you and touch you and you don't know they're coming. And people are sometimes very emotional. I didn't know how to, I have learned over the years, but back then I didn't know how to administer to someone who was bawling their eyes out in the airport. I would just go, oh, what do you do? And so it was so much. And then at the end of that year, the Grammys came around and my album was big, but it wasn't that big. And then when the Grammys came around, it surprised everyone and I got 7 nominations. And I think I had the most nominations of anyone that year. There might've been someone else, but I got the most and there was one person under me. So they pitted us against each other. And then she won everything and I won nothing. And that was my introduction to the politics and really my introduction to the darker side of how people can be. Because I just didn't know. So I was thinking that making the album was the hard part. Then I thought the travel was the hard part. And then I realized that the hard part is really just dealing with people and the politics of everything and how we treat each other. Because it's all magnified in the music industry because there's so much money and power involved. People just do things they would never do in their everyday life. And so I didn't know any of that about people. I didn't know somebody could say, my son is 5 years old. He loves listening to your music, but I'm not going to play it on my radio station. You can forget about that. I didn't know people would actually do that. It's not new to me now, of course. But that part is what makes it for me, the music industry is a necessary evil because it's the only vehicle to get where you're going. I mean, it's changing now because of the internet, but still people need to know your music is there. Even if your music is great, but they don't know that it's there. There's still that marketing wheel that you need a lot of money for and things like that. And so we're all figuring out new ways. But that first, to answer your question, that first initiation was really hard. And feel like I've been processing it at different levels all this time. I had a big clearing about it back in 2009, about 10 years ago. And I thought I was going to retire and I came back into my career deciding that I tried everything except for just being me. Just be me. Don't say no if it's no. Say yes when it's yes. Tell people be quiet, roll your eyes, whatever you have to do. Tell them, ask for what you want, all this stuff. Just be me. And so for the last 10 years, I've been doing that. It's a lot more work, but it feels better at night when I lay down. And I don't have ulcers now, and I don't have depression and all the stuff that was coming up. So that initiation was harsh, 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 very. And the thing that made it really crazy was that I didn't have anyone to talk to about it.
Mm.
No one understood. Now, my mother was always like my person. She didn't get it at all. So she would just be like, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah, and I think also the perception that we have. So, you know, I remember I was in a workshop, in a self-growth workshop, and I think that was the first time I heard you. I would have been about 25, so I'm 44. It's about 19 years ago.
So I was 25 because I'm 44.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I heard your voice. Maybe I was a little older, but I remember your voice came in. Actually, I must have been older because the song was "I'm Ready for Love," and that didn't come out as early.
It did.
So,
It did. Yes, it came out in 2001.
great. So that's how I heard it, because I also just saw that recently on your 2013. Oh no, I'm thinking of "I'm Light." Anyway,
Yes.
I won't go through your whole discography right now. But I remember that song and those words found me at just the right time when I too was trying to be ready for love and open for love and get over my own really what was self-hatred and shame about being gay and all that stuff that I had to unpack. And that song found me, and so my perception of you at that time would have been, "Oh, lucky India. She's out there making record. She's got the." So I think that's the tricky thing too. When you have success in your career, you're the commodity that people then start to feel should just be delighted about it, because that's the narrative that we're all being sold. Whereas actually, we often don't think, oh, the commodity that is giving me this wonderful experience, how are they feeling? How are they doing today? What's the kickback that they're getting from all of this attention and psychic energy coming at them? So I think, and I think now we have more understanding of that, but 20 years ago. And the other thing I thought about with you, and I was struck by this, because you're a very beautiful woman. And when I was watching some of your videos again from 20 years ago, and I was just thinking about you in that time, I thought, well, number one, women are objectified way more than men, and their women's beauty and appearance is really critical, and certainly was 20 years ago. And I remember hearing, I think it was Tori Amos or somebody saying, oh, they wouldn't play my records because I was told they already had one woman in that slot for an hour. And I never understood, when I would look at like Rolling Stone or Q Magazine in the UK, they'd say the top 50 albums, and there'd be like 3 women, and I'd be like, I was biased to women's voices. So I'd be like, where are the women? Why is this like a man's club? But 20 years ago, we were still, it's still there now, but it is changing, thankfully. But yeah, it must have been quite the thing to live through.
I think the other thing about it is that there's a woman's box that they put you in. And then if you're a Black woman, there's a Black woman's box that they put you in. So it was like, I came in right in time when it was in style to be a certain type of Black woman. So they were calling us neo soul. None of us put that name on ourselves. That's what they called our genre. We were called neo soul. And so we were the in thing for a minute there. So I came in the industry right in time to catch that wave. And then once that was over, it was like, we can have one Black woman here, like one. And so it's still kind of what you see today. Because even when you think of the woman box usually gets given to a white artist.
That's true. Yeah.
Then there may be a Black one, maybe, but she has to really capture people.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's the politics. And that's kind of what happened when I went to the Grammys that year, where I learned, like, this is not about the music, and it's not even about the artists themselves. It's about the record executives and how much power they have. And, the record executives are generally all white men. So they're going to look at women through those eyes. Like, what do they think is attractive? Is this woman, the male gaze, the rich, powerful male gaze. And so it trickles down to, you're going to get less marketing dollars depending on what this male gaze says you're valuable for, right? And so we know, because when you really can see people, you see beauty in them in a lot of different ways. Not that everyone is beautiful to you, but you see beauty and diversity when you really see people. But that's not how the world is. And this is definitely not how the music industry is. And so for me, I didn't fit. No matter how young and beautiful I was and how interesting my clothes were and how my music, how it touched people, I didn't fit. And so it started making me feel like I'm in this world that's not meant for me, but it's the only vehicle. I have to get in this car. And so I did have a lot of success, especially given all the check marks against me. I've had a lot of success. And even now I have to kind of like giggle about it because I see a lot of artists who are not free. And I'm free, pretty much. I'm free. I do what I want. I make the music I want to make. I own my publishing. I'm on a label where I have a partnership, and it's a wonderful, like very ethical business model, finally. But it didn't feel good going through all that stuff in the moment. But I like where I am now. And if it had to be that way, I don't want to do it again. Nobody wants to be 25 again.
Yeah.
But no. No.
No, thanks. No.
But I like where I am.